You're live.
You want to do it? You want me to do it?
No, you.
Hi, everybody. February 26th, 6:03 p.m. And this is a Housing Authority meeting. We just wrapped up a Personnel and Ordinance Committee meeting, right? That's the one, yep. And this will be followed by a regular meeting at 7. Do we want to do an official roll call or are we good with it?
Yes.
Okay, can we have a roll call, please?
Trustee Edwards? Here. Trustee Cranker?
Here.
Trustee Harper is absent. Trustee Burma? He's absent. He is also.
You'll probably be coming in late.
Okay, Trustee George?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Barney?
Here.
Berman?
Here. And I guess I should say the words, I call this meeting to order. So first item on the agenda this evening is the director's report.
Yes, it has been a good couple of weeks. A bunch of things are happening. Next week, we have a team of 8 attending the Building Better Places community builders training, and we have full attendance. We were allotted 8 spots and we have 8 people attending, which is very exciting. And again, that will be to establish a strategic plan for the housing authority. In your packet, under old business, is the link to a Google survey. And I'm inviting the current housing authority board members to fill this out so that we can refer back to this during the training next week. And then the rest of these things have to do with items on our agenda later, but I will give you some grant updates. Gloria and I are meeting with CHAFA tomorrow to discuss our application for technical assistance to create a conceptual plan for the Zanoni property. And our acceptance into that program is pending our conversation tomorrow. And then we won a grant, which is very exciting. The More Housing Now and Land Use, we received our full requested amount, which was $79,281, and we have matching funds from San Juan County. And that is to fund the pre-development of the lots in Annville that are allocated for the affordable rental apartment complex. I submitted a grant on the 14th to DOLA, an application through DOLA, the local planning capacity grant. This money would potentially fund my position. So that is exciting. And no current housing related grant applications are underway at the moment. So we're just waiting to hear back about a couple different ones.
Although Anne has outlined about 5 or 6 on the horizon. So once we get these RFQs and RFPs back, we'll be able to have cost estimates to pursue those grants.
That's huge. It's like teeing it all up.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, there's a lot coming.
Amazing.
Very exciting.
Yeah. I'll move on to the next item unless you all have any questions or notes.
Good job.
So that brings us to the boxcar apartments, which are will be located above the current apartment complex in Annville. We just received the funding to complete pre-development for this project, which includes site plan, grading and drainage, geotech, water systems, sewer systems, all of the engineering aspects of it. This lot could be difficult, but we will see. And so I am requesting permission to create and publish a RFQ for these pre-development services.
I'm super in support of all this. I have 2 questions that don't really relate to me supporting this or not, just curiosity, which is, one is, does this fall within the A-Rod? Or is it slightly outside? Does the A-Rod start, since this would be in the newly annexed county property, I'm assuming the A-Rod stops at where the county line previously was, so this wouldn't be in the A-Rod
We would have to amend the A-Rod
if we want to include
if we
this.
wanted to include this.
So, okay, so independent of that, the question is, how are you thinking about the aesthetic design? Because large buildings are really hard to incorporate in the historic nature of Silverton. And I've thought about this issue a bunch and I don't really know a good answer. And I'm really curious how you and the town are approaching it.
We're not quite there yet, is the best answer that I have for you right now. This will also go out for an RFP and we'll have a bunch of different designs hopefully to select from. But we haven't addressed or even thought about that yet, but
Okay.
that's a good point.
Cool.
Mhm.
Melina, can we update the minutes to say that Jordan is now present? Thank you. That's all I had, but this is awesome. I'm really excited to support it.
Awesome.
It's really exciting. In a variety of chamber meetings, we've had talk about, you know, affordable housing, but also the need for rental units. So it's, I heard before I was ever on the board is like plan into actuality. And I feel like this board just gradually chips away at that. So that's really neat to see the progress that you've made, Anne, in such a short amount of time.
Anne has given so much capacity to be able to,
Nice.
I just can't thank her enough.
It's exciting.
And so we will need a motion for the release of that or to draft and release the RFQ.
I'll make a motion for the staff to draft and release an RFQ for the pre-development design of the boxcar apartment site plan on behalf of the town of Silverton.
Second?
Thank you.
Second? Or
Yeah.
motion? Yeah, good.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Edwards?
Yes.
Trustee Franker?
Yes.
Trustee Birma?
Yes, unless there's any substantive changes made that wasn't in the packet. So
Good morning.
No.
Trustee George?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bart?
Yes.
Yes. Fantastic.
Awesome. And again, that project will be funded from the grant that we just won. The next thing I have for you all is requesting permission to release an RFP for the townhome design, site plan, building plan, and actually developing the housing there. We previously had an RFP out and have been working with a manufacturer, but unfortunately those plans aren't quite fitting in the lots as we had hoped. So we're kind of going back to the drawing board and we're gonna release much more clear instructions on what we need and what, because these sites are super funky. They're really narrow and long. And especially when we get into setbacks and everything and parking, it becomes challenging. And so an RFP would give us another cost estimate as well. So that we can get the ball rolling on those grants and funding opportunities that are upcoming.
And is this for the boxcar sites?
These are for the duplex townhome sites.
Okay, down in the,
In Anvil, on the ends of like
In the
the
donut.
middle of the
Yeah,
donut.
So I had a couple questions on this one. One, we're able to kind of go outside the original RFP that we released because we didn't get that original funding, right? Yeah.
That was all contingent on that funding.
Yeah. And is there anything in this that either this project would inform the code rewrite or the code rewrite would impact the design of this project that we would want to consider as we do
Well, I can take that on, Anne. So if you're thinking as far as the lot size and the setbacks.
Yeah.
What we're doing in our annexation is we are using the current lot sizes and setbacks as
Yeah.
they have been defined. So it's going to be more of like a subdivision annexation rather than like we're going with all R1
Yeah,
standards.
okay,
So there's different standards for Anvil that we'll have to conform to. And it was explained to us of why there were those different standards with the parking requirements as well as the snow storage and then the way they plow it. So
gotcha, yeah,
it really makes sense to keep those standards as they are.
yeah,
I think the original proposal was that we would conform those lots to our standards. But after kind of researching this, it seems like we just need to adopt what is already there.
gotcha, yeah,
So as far as informing our code, I wouldn't say so much there, but it will be different in our annexation,
mhm,
like a kind of a different zoning.
okay. Cause it seemed like, let me look at my notes, we were slightly decreasing the number of units based on these lot restrictions and just wondering like, again, more units is always great. And so making sure we're maximizing the. number.
Yeah, and this is just more practical.
Yeah.
As we looked at it and tried to lay things out, it's just a lot more practical. We're also, asking them to be creative. If
Mhm.
they think that, they can squeeze more units in those lot size, we just want to make sure that that's communicated clearly in our next RFP.
Yeah, gotcha, yep.
Is the estimated $4 million budget just for the 10 townhomes, not for the 10 townhomes plus the 14 apartment units?
Yes.
That was just the 10 townhomes.
It's probably gonna end up still on the low side.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Do you intend to include that estimate in the RFP? Okay,
This estimate,
The amount,
yeah,
no, typically we leave that open for them to.
I was gonna say
Yeah,
that might prevent some people from bidding.
Right.
Or provide.
Mhm.
Okay, and we also want to take bids for stick built and for modulars so that we have an option.
Mhm.
Cool.
Who
Sorry.
reviews the design? What's the process like for reviewing the design as this moves forward? Like, will it go to the planning commission? Will it come to the board? Like, how will people be able to see and have input on what
Yeah.
gets developed?
So we can create the housing authority would review the RFPs or the proposals that come back from the RFP. And then from there, we would really have to go through the planning commission and go through the proper steps to move forward. And the ARAD thing's a good question.
So that's the time at which someone who wants to see, I think when we saw sort of just a quick rendering, it was never intended for any consumption. It wasn't anywhere close to what it would look like. We did receive some public comment and I'm just trying to make sure that along the way, people know at what stage. Like, so that if they're looking at the memo, we know as a public, this is not the architectural design that's coming in at Anvil.
Right.
To be more granular, I think that in the response, I think that the process is the RFP goes out, we review the submissions. If there's some that look good, they get evaluated and voted on which one we're
By
gonna
the-
award. Then we start the process as if there are, designer.
Like an apple.
They submit all the designs. Once the town's happy with the designs as the client, then it would go through the planning commission process.
Right. And it would be like the town and the firm are the applicant, right?
Yes.
Great, thanks.
But yeah, thanks for bringing that up.
Any other questions, comments? Do we support the direction are there any objections to supporting the requested direction to develop the RFP for the build out of townhomes in Anvil?
Definitely not for me.
No. Cool. Is there any other direction that would be helpful at this time?
No, I don't think so.
Well, this is really exciting.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Cool.
So is it direction or motion? Do you need a motion?
This one's actually just direction. The other one has funding associated with it, so I needed a motion for that one.
And since we had no objection to the direction, it's deemed directed.
Consider it directed.
Awesome. Next up, I am requesting funding and permission to attend the Colorado Mountain Housing Coalition, which is happening April 14th through the 16th at Mountain Prince Resort.
So nice.
I know, I was like, wow.
Love that.
Sweet. It's like one full day and then like 2 half days a little bit. The conference costs $100. Lodging for 2 nights is gonna be $344. Meals, I'll use the town vehicle to get there. The total will be $684. I don't know if Gloria wants to speak about budget impact.
I found this conference for her, and after looking at it, I thought it would be really beneficial for her to attend. And also, to be able to network with these people, to, especially as we're diving into these new projects. And so I would like to give some of my training, allocation over, for her to use for this conference. And then you'll see later on in your board packet memo, I had planned on attending the CML, but I'm applying for a scholarship for that. So I'm pretty confident that I can get this scholarship. And so I would just really like to have Ian attend this.
Like a very good idea.
And maybe next year we can talk about building training into the housing budget as well.
Any questions for me? Otherwise, this will need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve funding for the Housing Authority Director's attendance of the Colorado Mountain Housing Coalition Conference.
Second,
Thank you. Roll call, please.
trustee Edwards?
Yes.
Trustee Cranker?
Yes.
Trustee Burma? George?
Yes.
Member Tim Barney?
Yes.
Yes. Fantastic.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And
We have
And
9 extra minutes.
yes,
Wow.
yes, you do.
I might go home.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you all very much.
I have a baby. Yeah.
This work session
Okay.
is adjourned, and then we'll have our regular meeting starting at 7 o'clock. We do, Jim.
He did. He was really not feeling well.
Yeah.